Hey guys, welcome to Biomassed episode 70. It's probably yes, we got Cat Merc. We got a bit of a small crowd here today, probably because there is literally absolutely nothing going on in the Dust community right now. It's a wasteland. So we are going to do our best to fill the hour here, and it'll probably be a mess. And Jay's not here, so he'll probably be shaking his head later as he listens to this show. But without much further ado, let's get started with shoutouts. We'll start at the top with Sorizo.
Hi.
It's not a shout out. I'm sorry. Introduction of Sorizo. God damn it.
See, this is why we need Jay.
Jay keeps us together. All right. I'm Sorizel. I used to be a CPM until I, got shot with a scrambler rifle or something. And I'm a co-host here on the show, and I write for the blog.
Fantastic. Aiwha Bait.
But not this week.
Not this week.
Hey
Go ahead.
everybody, I'm Aiwha Bait. I'm a member of the Incorruptibles, a writer for the Biomassed blog, and probably the poor soul who shot Sarai with that scrambler rifle.
Noise.
He's also playing Dust while trying to operate a push-to-talk button for our Mumble channel here. So it's impressive.
I actually stopped. My pinky was starting to hurt.
All right.
But yeah,
Catwork.
Hey, I'm Catmerk, and I stopped playing Dust months ago, and yet my knowledge of it is still completely up to date, which is sad.
Jeez. All right, and Godin.
Hi, I'm Godin Thekiller. I stopped playing this because my PS3 finally died, and I'm like halfway up to date.
Okay, so yeah, we've got a room of 5 people, and 3 of them don't play Dust anymore, so this is going to be a great show.
Well, I can't. I would. I'm addicted.
It's
a drug.
Clear reason why we have to move Dust to another platform so Godin can continue to play, because he should not buy another PS3 because that's insane.
Yeah,
somebody's cutting.
it might be me.
Yeah, we've had lots of fun connection issues the last few weeks, but we'll work through it and try to do something with it here. So yeah, there's not much going on. It's mostly kind of the same banter going around in the forums. So, I mean, what have you guys been doing in game lately? Like, you're working? I mean, I know Bait's been playing, obviously. So, what have you been practicing and working on lately?
About 2 days ago, I guess I skilled. I finally decided to bend to the level of ultimate scrubbiness and run a flavor of the month suit. So I picked me up an Amara Assault suit and got my scrambler rifle to level 4 because fuck anything else. Assault scrambler rifle is a shit, I've heard. So I picked up that assault scrambler rifle, threw it on a level 1 Amara assault suit, and have been wrecking everybody for the past 2 days or so or whatever. Really fun fit.
Yeah, I've been doing the same thing, though. I've been using just like I think it's the militia assault variant, but that thing wrecks even without the suit level and without the gun level. You just throw some damage mods on there. I use the crins, and it just melts everything. I mean, these poor shield suits come around the corner, and I just kind of giggle as they vaporize instantly. It's kind of pathetic, actually.
It's a bad time to run Caldari, but yeah, that you throw I've got the crins on it as well. It's the whatever the level 4 scrambler rifle is, the CRD 9 assault scrambler rifle. So you're looking at a base of 40 and whatever the math is after you add in 4% from the damage modifier, plus anything that the Amara assault gets damage wise, and you've got one hell of a gun. The heat buildup, we were talking about this before the show started, it's laughable. It's like it's not even there. I can start to unload my clip, and I'm probably about a third or a fourth of the way on the heat buildup, about halfway through the clip. 72 round clip, I think it is. So if you're looking for something to kill with, and you got your suit, throw a flux grenade on it, deal with your Galente and your Amara suits, and then just let that shit melt through the shields of the Caldari.
Yeah, and I mean it's really noticeable ever since they buffed it. I mean, even the heat buildup aside, is the fact that it's outputting so much DPS that heat isn't even really an issue for most cases before you drop somebody. I mean, you'll notice a drop in DPS against armor, obviously, but I still kill things just as fast as I would normally. I mean, I think we've run the numbers before, and like the the assault scrambler rifle will actually do the same DPS to armor as an assault rifle will, but it'll do a lot more DPS to shields than an assault rifle will, which is telling of two obvious issues: that the assault scrambler is way outside that range DPS curve that Rattati decided to break a few months back, and that the assault rifle is, shit. So it's another one of those ongoing issues that we are hopefully waiting on a balance pass for, but we just haven't gotten yet because I'm sure there's other things he wants to do besides rifles again, despite it being a huge issue.
Like going to the store.
Like going to the grocery store.
Getting some ramen noodles.
I actually only saw that posting. What is that all about? I saw Rattati at the grocery store, and I didn't actually read it.
Other than the fact that it's so bizarre, yeah. And just random, especially in a time like this where nothing's happening, and you see some funny shit like this pop up. It's funny, the people needed a laugh, I guess, and this is it. So that post has really taken off.
It's pretty bad when we're resorting to making up fake stories about seeing developers at grocery stores to keep ourselves entertained.
Wait, what is this story?
Do we have the post?
I'm looking it up now, but I haven't read it yet.
It should be like on the front page of general discussions, and it should have a dev post. So,
okay, I saw Rattati at the grocery store.
Read it for us. Read it out loud.
Okay, a dramatic reading. I saw Rattati at the grocery store in Shanghai, China yesterday. I told him how cool it was to meet him in person, but I didn't want to be a douche and bother him and ask him for photos or anything. He said, "Oh, like you're doing right now?" I was taken back. All I could say was, "Huh?" He kept cutting me off and going, "Huh, huh, huh," and closing his hand shut in front of my face. I walked away and continued with my shopping. I heard him chuckle as I walked off. When I came to pay for my stuff up front, I saw him trying to walk out the door with 15 Milky Ways in hand without paying. The girl at the counter was very nice about it and professional, and she said, "Sir, you need to pay for those first." At first, he kept pretending to be tired and not hear her, but eventually turned back around her and brought them to the counter. When she took one of the bars and started scanning it multiple times, he stopped her and told her to scan each of them individually to prevent any electrical interference. And then he turned around and winked at me. And so she scanned each bar and put them in the bag and started to say the price. He kept interrupting her by yawning really loudly. And that's the post.
Oh my god.
I read that post about 4 times now. This still makes me bawl.
So there's 3 pages and a dev response to that.
There's multiple
What's the
dev
dev
responses.
response? What's the first one?
Let's see.
Rattati's dev response was amazing.
Of course it would be.
I think Frame even got in on the action there for a second.
Rattati's response was lel, L-E-L. And then Frame said, "I saw Ratintin in the office today. He was handsome." It's freaking weird. Like, I don't even know what's going on here.
There's another. I think Rattati came back. Let me see if I can pull it up, and it should be second or third page, I think, where somebody asked basically what the post was, and Rattati was like, I really don't know. I'm just reading through it, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
He says, "It was so damn weird. I just kept reading through, and the end was like, what the frack is this?"
I love one of the next posts in response to that, where I think it might have been it was somebody, some big name on the forums was like, "Fracking without protection again, Rattati? You gotta be careful," or something like
Slender,
that.
man.
Yeah,
It's what I don't get is we're responding to goofy posts like this, but there's really not much going on in terms of actual development talk, which is a little frustrating given the fact that nothing is going on. But, I think Rattati's still out of the country, actually. He's probably dealing with labor laws in China, much like we have in the US, where you can only be in the country working for so many months out of the year, and you have to leave, and you can't have a certain amount of consecutive time, so he might be doing his time, so to speak, in Iceland away from the actual Shanghai office. But at the same time, it's just kind of been a pain, especially for, media outlets like us, where we're trying to figure out things to talk about, and we ultimately end up reading goofy forum posts and bitching about how there's nothing to talk about.
Well, we could talk about other games like we've been doing.
We could. Go for it.
So, Taken King's coming soon, and they're going to let us
They're
play
going to
maps.
take us all.
What?
but
But they're going to let us play the PvP maps coming with the TTK. early, and it's going to be free for everyone. Thoughts?
The PvP's coming, I think it's Tuesday, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And so what does that include exactly? Is that just the new maps or
Apparently,
new game
it's
modes?
the new maps, the 2 new game modes, and we're not really sure at the moment, but we might be getting the weapons as well.
We
They didn't confirm
let
it.
me just hunt down this tweet.
Okay, there's a tweet. Well,
Yes.
about time. But they had released their weekly update.
Here we go.
and- Oh,
Banshee will be selling TTK weapons, so there we go. Well, not
Well-
selling, giving bounties for.
oh, okay. They're gonna start the field test, but what about the rest of? Why are they making this so difficult? This is CCP logic going on.
What do you mean?
What?
Damn it, Destiny.
Explain what the problem is.
Okay, so for all the factions, they sell their particular weapons. For coming with the TTK, there's going to be this thing called field test where you can go to the that armor guy that
Yes,
has
Banshee
spike-
44.
Yeah,
He's
he
going
has-
to have a thing called Aelns Dene and blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're putting that out, but we don't know if they're putting out all the weapons for all the factions.
No, it's only going to be field test weapons. It's how they're going to let us try the TTK weapons before we actually get
So
them in
they-
the loot table.
So they've outright said that we're not going to be able to buy any of the weapons for factions.
I'd say it's almost certainly because they're far more powerful than current weapons, and giving us these weapons a week before the Taken King is out is kinda,
Well, in
Pointless.
regular Crucible, they won't be, and they won't really scale up anymore.
Yes, but they'll
for
still work in
regular.
PvE.
That's what I'm saying. They won't scale up to be higher than regular because at a certain point, there's a certain threshold for everything, and it can't really become more powerful past that threshold. So there's really no point. Like, say if you go into the Vault of Glass with a 365 weapon,
That's
it
not
won't
actually
really-
how that works in PvE. There's
they
your
change
level, which is what you're talking about. Being over leveled above your enemy doesn't make that big of a difference, but the attack value of a weapon actually makes a big difference. It literally determines point for point how much damage you do.
I know that, and I'm saying that there's a threshold, like at a certain point, that it won't really scale up to be any more damage.
No,
That's
it
why if you
doesn't
bring
have.
in a 365 damage weapon in normal Vault of Glass, it won't be doing any difference than a Fatebringer that drops in the Vault of Glass. Like before, you could upgrade
It'll
it
be
to
doing
365.
It will have a lot of difference.
It doesn't. I
Yes,
haven't noticed
yes, it does.
I haven't noticed a single difference in point because I have 2 thorns, one that I got before Etheric Light existed and one after, and I've yet to find another piece of Etheric Light because it won't drop for me for some reason. But I'm not getting any more damage because I do Vault of Glass a lot. So
Anyways, so yeah, it's before we go into a big long discussion about damage values and stuff that people probably don't care too much about.
Number one
Um,
Destiny podcast.
Yeah, CCP, this is how desperate we are. We're talking about different games. That's a really bad sign, especially when your media outlet is changing their topic.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Go and use push to talk, please.
Well,
okay.
it's a slow week. We'll it's been a slow. Okay, fair. It's
been a
like
slow month.
It's been a slow month.
Really
it'll,
slow.
It'll come around.
I'm sure it will. It's just a little
Hopefully.
frustrating. We're trying to fill the time, obviously, and the lack of developer communication. Despite whose fault it is and who's putting out that hush order is a little frustrating because players are starved, and you can see it definitely in the forums that things are very slow. And
This
I
is
even
the
find
grand
myself,
silence of 2015.
kinda, yeah. I mean, I'm often, we'll call it, criticized or made fun of for my unending optimism, and even I feel a little apathetic right now because just there's so much that's not going
I
on.
even made the card for you in the Cards Against Humanity set called Pokey's Boundless Optimism.
Awesome.
I haven't
We
gotten
found
that
the
card yet.
bottom.
But yeah, I mean, like, I'm to a point kind of where I'm still hopeful for the future. Like, I honestly do believe that the game is going to a new platform, and I think it'll be cool, and I look forward to it. But in the current state, I just sort of don't care right now because I obviously I'm not under NDA. I don't know what's going on. I have nothing I can really work on or nothing I can really, try to play around with because, like the rest of the community, we don't know anything. And I just kind of don't care anymore. And that's, I think, should be alarming to CCP when the player base, especially people like me who are annoyingly optimistic and in a way a white knight sometimes for the company are just kind of tired of the same thing. And we were talking about it on the show beforehand. The bonus room, I think we've mentioned it before on the podcast, and the bonus room from Eve, and basically how it would work in short is that a group of people would scam a player into giving them all of their assets in game, all of their ships, modules, money, and whatnot, and with the promise of, hey, if you make it through the bonus room, you can get all this back times 10, which is obviously a scam. And they basically pull them into this chat room and make them do all kinds of crazy, goofy things and record them and then post the humiliation on the forums. And listening to the recording of these people, it's almost like they are so invested in the situation that they know it's not really healthy what they're doing. They know that they're obviously stuck there and they can't actually mentally disengage from it. And in a way, I kind of feel like we're at a point in Dust right now where we're unable to mentally disengage because we're so invested in it, and both emotionally and financially and mentally. And even though it's not really a healthy situation, we stick with it. And I guess I just kind of feel like I'm at this point of self-abuse almost, that I'm still doing this years later, and we're it's so slow, and I guess I'm just frustrated in general, and I think the community's kind of feeling that as well.
I would like to echo the same thing. Very frustrated. Still here.
As I said multiple times, there is such a thing as being too careful with your communication.
True.
I mean, it's the CCP is kind of a company of extremes. I mean, we had FanFest 2013 where they overpromised everything and delivered on almost nothing, and instead of
The moon by 2015.
Right, with MTAX and all the goodness, but they did the full 180.
That was supposed to be 2013.
Yeah.
Right.
Were these the medium tanks?
No, MTEX were the walkers. The Mitch.
What?
Yeah, and
Yep, they promised that by
What?
2013.
Dude, weren't we
First expansion after Death is out.
Dude, I didn't
I
hear about
still
that.
think that's a bad idea for multiple
That is a
reasons.
really bad idea. I also heard stuff going around about fixed wing aircraft and
LAs.
fucking dirt bikes or something, right?
No, we had
Speeders.
concept art. There's concept art you can
Yeah.
look at. It's out there.
Hold up, I'll post it.
Dude. Yes, link that. Also queuing in the ambush if any of our listeners are curious and want to shoot me.
Wants to see the assault scrambler rifle.
Wants to see
destruction.
how OP exactly. Wants to see how OP the assault scrambler rifle is. Queue into ambush.
But yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff. They showed concept art. There was MAVs as well. They had the pictures for the medium
What are
attack
those?
vehicles.
It's basically IFVs for Caldari and Galante.
Of course, Caldari and Galante, because
Yeah.
fuck
We don't-
vehicles for any other race.
But they also
pretty much.
posted concept art for Mimitar, Namar, HEVs. They got the MCCs, and I think they got the labs as well.
Yeah, they had the labs. The Mimitar lab it looked like a freaking quad bike. It had these giant tires.
It
was
looked
awesome.
like an actual off-road vehicle.
Link?
And Mars looked like a bus.
Where's the link at?
I'm sure someone has it. We can find
Okay.
it.
All
But,
right.
Look
yeah, I mean,
in the green room.
I mean, it was
Sorry.
lots of cool stuff. It was just they were like, oh yeah, well, you want to see the MTAX? And everyone's in the crowd screaming, yeah, awesome. And then Ilmar's like, well, they're not quite ready yet, but we'll have them ready by the next update. And obviously,
where are
Holy
they at?
shit.
yeah, I think everyone kind of raised an eyebrow and went, really? And then obviously it was a bunch of BS, and we're still kicking around pretty much the same stuff. I mean, the amount of assets they've added is minimal. I mean, a handful of weapons.
Laughable.
I mean,
There's
this
the
with
HUVs and labs and dropships.
yeah, I think they basically had the rail rifle and the combat rifle, the mag sec. Trying to think what else they added.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They also had Mimitar sniper. I'm gonna link that as well.
Oh yeah, the precision rifle. They even had the precision rifle as a listed weapon on the damage type dev blog. They had that as a projectile weapon, which again never made it into the game.
Dude.
They have this weird looking shotgun that we still don't know what is, and some concept art, like really early concept art. They also have a plasma rifle with a grenade launcher, I think, on it.
That was actually the original design from like the 2009 trailer. It actually had a grenade launcher in the underbarrel.
Yeah.
So So this Caldari fixed. I'm looking at the postcode. And,
The LA, and it's not fixed really.
It's the second row of vehicles right under the MCCs, which the Mimitar MCC looks, oh my god, amazing.
Those are the RDVs.
Not the top row,
Yeah, the second row is the second RDVs. But by the maps, yes, those are RDVs.
Oh, I see. And then these six-wheeled, eight-wheeled vehicles are
the maps, yes.
Okay. Dude.
And then those things on the bottom right, those are the speeders.
Oh yeah, those are the motorcycles. Okay, yeah. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, those were gonna be cool.
Yeah,
too bad we didn't get them.
Top row of MCCs though looks beautiful. Wow. Amar still looks like a gigantic space dildo, but hey,
I expect nothing less.
It looks like every Amar ship I ever see in Eve. It's just a big cylinder flying through space.
Look at the other link. The van for the lab, the dildo for the HEP,
god, yes.
And then the dropship looks like an actual dropship out of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I have to say that they really landed with...
It's a dune buggy.
Right? Like that actually looks like what we use it for is going over rough terrain rather than trying to drive a sports car over a mountain.
Yeah.
And that's why I've been saying we need to redesign all of the labs to be like actual games. But that's not ever going to happen, sadly.
Well, if you actually look at the old 2009 footage when like the early dust when they were just kind of playing around with the concept.
Back when it was on carbon.
Right. Yeah. The labs actually had suspension, like the wheels would bounce and have physics.
You know what was the coolest thing about the 2009 demos that I would really love to see? That they didn't have, like, the dropships didn't have, like, seats. They were actually, like, legit dropships that you could, like, use weapons off of and jump off of, whatever. They were like just platforms that you could actually, stand on. It was really cool.
Didn't they have a limit to how many people could get in still, though?
It was not playable, so it was just a video demo.
No, I'm saying conceptually, they still would have a limit for it.
I don't know. I mean,
okay.
I have no idea what was intended at the time. I mean, I imagine you can only fit so many people on a dropship, and that it's probably pretty inefficient to. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they calculate the weight of the drop suits on the ship, and its flight would be affected by how many people were piled on there.
That's too much for CCP.
Well, bear in mind, this was back when they were trying to run Dust on a game engine that melts high-end graphics cards.
No.
I think there was actually a video where they had the LAV with the suspension, like I was saying, and they hit the ground too hard, and the car crashed into the suspension, hit the ground, and then detonated because the physics were so screwed up.
What?
Yeah, no, it was kind of akin to like in the early beta when you could flip the tanks upside down and they would spin like tops until they eventually blew up from impact damage.
Nice.
I remember in early beta, I got stuck up like halfway upside down. It was like at an angle, and people tried to flip me over while protecting me. That was the most teamwork I have ever seen in this game, and it was a bunch of randoms.
Oh yeah, I've done that where I would help friendly tanks flip back over because if you don't do it quick enough, they eventually kill themselves and everyone around them from spinning around like Beyblades. It was good times.
But we didn't even. I wasn't even spinning around anything. I was just stuck laying there, and people were rushing me, trying to blow me up with AV, and people were actually protecting me, which was amazing because we were just a bunch of randoms. I think I got like 80 kills that game.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I have to say that the community
has... Alright, I give up. I've been going through the past few minutes trying to scrub the FanFest videos from 2013 and 2012 for the MTEX slide, but I just can't find it.
But
That's at 2013.
That's 2013.
And it's just a picture of the
Yeah, I
Industrial
remember
Insect
that. I
moving
just
that
can't find it
concrete.
in the video.
Ah, okay.
But no, like, so one of those other kind of weird bugs, just as an example, where, and this is actually, do you guys know what used to happen in Star Citizen? As far as stupid bugs,
What?
No.
Which
The
they
one?
had
entire
like
game.
they had like a little
GG
like
chat.
pocket flashlight attached to the pilot suit, and there was a point where pilots in flight
Oh, I know what you're
they'd be
talking
flying
about.
a spaceship, and then suddenly the player in the spaceship would suddenly die, and they couldn't figure out why, and it was because in mid-flight the flashlight attached to their suit stopped being treated as part of the inside of, as being like inside the local space of the ship, and so it immediately went through them at full velocity, and so it was like a random attachment failing that would like skewer people.
Inertia's a bitch, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially in a game like Star Citizen, which is so heavily physics driven, that you'd have fun glitches for people getting impaled by random objects flying through space.
One time I was flying in a Raiden Commander and a little rock went through my ship and killed me. It was a sad day because I almost was able to get the glaive. I was on like round 17. So yeah. Bad physics, bad.
I'm looking at these weapon concepts again for Dust, and
Mhm.
it looks like a mag-sec with an extendable stock in like an underbarrel grenade launcher or something. Like, why don't we have this stuff?
Dude,
Because
You-
CCP.
Yes.
yeah. You can't have a mag-sec with an extendable stock and an underbarrel until you fix the poor little gun itself. That poor little gun, man. Every time I see that shit come up on the kill feed, I just want to send whoever gets a kill with it some money. Bless you. But
What
dude,
about
these
my
concepts.
ion pistol?
No, fuck the iron pistol.
Oh,
At least it works. It works better than the magsec does.
not
There's
really.
There's no outrageous kick on that little ion pistol.
I've
Well,
been able to hit the mag-sec. I don't know if it's changed since like the last 2 weeks, since I've literally only been able to turn on my PS3 for about 3 minutes and play. But yeah,
No change.
okay, so
I
it should
think
be
it's
fine.
I think it's a case of the gun itself isn't bad. It's just that there's options that they perform the same and they're much better. Like the magsec isn't a bad gun, but the SMG is just better in every way. So there's no reason to use the magsec.
As I say, SMG is the pinnacle of perfect sidearms. Yeah, no, that magsec, has some issues that need to be fixed. The recoil on it is atrocious. It's awful.
That's why I hip fire it.
Even if you hip fire it, though, it's still pretty shit. Still really bad. I think the range could use a little bit of work, and that's something I've been trying to work on. When I think about it, is I have something, have a spreadsheet going, comparing the magsec to literally every sidearm, and trying to find that sweet middle ground, to where it should be.
Well, that's the thing I've been harping on for a long time, especially when you've got these, weapons that don't perform that, the way they should. And then you've got, weapon suit bonuses that don't really do much. Like, if the Caldari Assault bonus was, recoil reduction, it could probably actually make the magsec a really solid gun.
Wholeheartedly agree. What Caldari suit does have the recoil reduction, by the way?
None of them.
Oh, okay, that explains a lot. Yeah, I'm sure if something had a recoil bonus, then it would help, depending on what the bonus is. At this point, I'll take anything. I'll take 5%. But
yeah, and that's the issue. I mean, there's obviously balance problems with the rail rifle too. But it's like, I really wish that they would have, made the universal theme behind the assault suits be, it offsets the weapon's weakness.
Yes.
And you see that with the Amar, and you see that with the Mimitar, with obviously heat buildup and magazine size, and it works actually really well.
It does.
But the Galente doesn't really need the dispersion drop. I mean, it helps, but it's not noticeable. And I don't consider reload speed being the weakness of Caldari weapons. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. And I don't know why we have this reluctance to change it. I don't know if they're afraid of pissing people off, but I mean, the Caldari Assault right now is kind of like a crappy version of the, Caldari Commando. It's got the same bonus. It's just less stuff, to do with it.
Yeah, in my mind, what needs to happen is, every 2 or 3 patch release cycles, I guess, there needs to be a weapon fix, hot fix or whatever. So you put out a patch, say Warlords 1.3 comes out, and then the next either hot fix or patch, probably hot fix, I would think, would contain a weapon rework for everything, primary sidearms, all that, grenades. And then the next one after that would be, a patch or fixing broken mechanics that came with, whatever. And then we go back to repeat the cycle instead of just fixing weapons whenever somebody bitches enough about it on the forums or whatever.
Well, especially when you have systems that are so interconnected, like you see in Dust. I mean, you can talk about the balance of, let's just say, the Scrambler Rifle, but you really can't talk about that unless you also talk about the bonuses of the suits that affect it, such as the Assault, Amar Assault, and the Amar Commando. And if you don't really look at them all at once and have a comprehensive plan of how you want it to work, it's not going to work right. So, I mean, like you said, if you're changing things, you kind of have to go back and revisit, the weapons every so often to see how, recent changes have affected it. Because, I mean, if you, for whatever reason buff this bonus, it's going to change, how that weapon performs. And I think that we've always kind of lacked a clear plan of how we want things to work. And I mean, you see hints of it here and there of like, okay, that's kind of what they were going for, and that makes sense, but it's rarely consistent and, well executed. And I think that's been a big problem for Balance. And we've kind of been just doing band-aid fixes with balance passes so far. And we really haven't seen a solid plan on how things are supposed to work. And I think Rattati's got the right mindset to do it, but there's not enough manpower, I think, to really crunch and digest all the numbers.
And that community is what you are for.
Pretty much.
So do your jobs.
Well, to be fair, it should not be the community's job to do balance, but given the situation, you're right that it falls upon us to deal with it.
Yeah, as people who actively play this game and support it by both playing it and purchasing Aurum, and even posting on the forums, to take time out of your day to complain about something that makes you mad on the forums, you should be able to come back with an argument. Should somebody call you out on something and say that this weapon is underpowered because X, and Y, or stuff like that, and have your data to present to somebody, whether it be Rattati or whomever, and maybe help fix the game.
You know what really annoys me? That Rattati promised he will change all the way back in Hotfix Alpha.
What did he promise to change all the way back in Hotfix Alpha?
Assault rifle name. It should be Plasma Rifle, damn it.
I mean,
he promised that in Hotfix Alpha?
Agreed.
I don't think he ever promised it.
No.
He doesn't
He
promise
said he would
things.
change it.
Huh.
I mean,
sometime after Hotfix Alpha.
I mean, the big thing, sometime could be, like 3 years from now when, the game is on, PlayStation 6 or...
I know, but he's such a tease.
Game Boy Color or something. I mean, the big thing is it's not a technically difficult change. It's an extremely time consuming change because of all the different places that it has to be changed in, and then all the localization that has to be done.
Give me access to the database and I'll do it myself. I'll even use Google Translate if needed.
Yeah, CCP is totally going to just give you access to their database.
Yes, it's a great idea.
But yeah, so it's one of those things where the cost benefit, it's not worth it unless they're building a whole new game around it at the same time.
Legion.
Well, it's just going to go back to what I was saying before.
Maybe somewhere there's a Legion prototype where it's called the plasma rifle, and we can get like a screenshot of that and send it to Cat just to make him happy, and then maybe it got changed back to assault rifle just for fun.
I will kill you. I will kill you for even thinking about that.
Wasn't it that market screenshot? Didn't that list the plasma rifle? Yeah, it did.
Yes,
okay.
it's the plasma
All right.
rifle.
I actually didn't barely remember. I didn't remember that till someone mentioned it.
It's actually
it was
pretty cool
just-
screenshot.
It was. I would like to see that.
It's in the
market.
video.
A real market someday.
No, it's actually in the subform Graveyard of Dreams, aka the Legion subform. There's a screenshot of the GUI for the market.
The Graveyard of Dreams is officially the episode title, in case anyone's curious.
Awesome.
I thought it was the morning after.
What's the name of that movie where there was Legion footage in it?
John Wick.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in
That
there,
movie was great.
you can see in the kill feed the assault rifle is named plasma rifle.
It
Really?
is. Yes.
I didn't see that. That's pretty cool.
That annoyed me because I was like, it's not that in dust. And that disappointed me so that it did.
Well, I think this comes back to what I was saying before about how, there was a plan behind things, and obviously naming nomenclature was certainly something they were trying to do. Like, you have the breach this, you have the tactical this, and ideally it would, perform a certain way, and it's kind of anyone who's talked to me, they know that I'm a real stickler when it comes to I don't like messy design, and I think Dust is full of messy design, but the lack of consistency in a lot of things, especially in naming, is not only annoying for OCD people like me, but I think it's also confusing for people who are new to the game. So when they have an assault rifle, well, if you hand someone a combat rifle, they're going to go, oh yeah, this is an assault rifle. It's not very clear, because then you've got, the assault combat rifle versus the assault rifle, and then they're going, wait, what? And then you've got the, assault rifle, more or less, the full auto version. And it's certainly confusing, and I think that lack of consistency is certainly not something that's doing the game any favors, particularly for people who are new to the game and are trying to understand a game that's very complicated with a very poor tutorial system. So hopefully when and if this moves to a new platform, they've actually built and named things properly so people can go, oh, and a tactical weapon is always going to perform like this, and it's going to be slightly different based on the race, and it'll be great. But right now, semantics aside, it's certainly annoying in terms of how the naming is not consistent in any way.
Back to the assault rifle / plasma rifle real quick. Pulled up that footage from John Wick that's got Legion in it, and it is indeed the Duval plasma rifle. So nice to see that on the kill feed. Huh?
Forever immortalized on my Blu-ray player.
It is beautiful. The environment looks beautiful, and looking down the amazing iron sights of this plasma rifle just turns me on as a Galente. But much better than the current assault rifle. Iron sights, if I do say so, but yeah, it's nice.
All you need to do now is make me a shotgun blaster, and I will be complete.
No, get the fuck out of here with that.
Were you around for the original iron sights on the assault rifle?
I don't think so. I started
the camera sight. It was
started playing just after end of closed beta. Or not closed beta, open beta, because I was there for 2013, 12 Days of Dustmas, I think.
For the camera site.
I don't think
it was already out.
That was already out.
There were 3 sites for the assault rifle, from what I remember. The camera site, the iron sight from closed beta, or maybe it was already open beta.
The camera site and
then the iron sight from Uprising. The beta iron sight was like.
It was the rail rifle iron sight. It was almost the same as the rail rifle. It was very blocky. You couldn't actually see what you were shooting at because it covered up the target. It was really dumb.
Yeah.
But the camera is still my absolute favorite. I think that really added a
footage.
I'll have to find it. But okay. My question with that was, if we're wearing a suit that doesn't have eyes, we're basically looking in a giant screen inside the helmet. Why are there iron sights? Like, I thought the camera made a lot more sense where you're you're actually the feed is switching to the gun.
Give us fucking holographic sights.
Yeah, it's a little strange, and one of those things I hope they actually change.
Years in the future, and we're still using iron sights.
Well, that's what bugged me is that it lost. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the weapon and the vehicle and the structure design for Dust is fantastic. I think that they really do nail the racial themes throughout all the weapons and suits. I mean, they look the way they should. You can look at it and go, "Oh yeah, that's a Caldari gun." But god damn, they really kind of botched that. Like they were trying to go for a more, I'll say modern look when it really should have been futuristic. And I think the camera sights were definitely on par, and then they got rid of it. I was very disappointed.
And then they were trying to do the futuristic thing with the sports car labs, but then that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. I would much rather have these. Still looking at those vehicle concepts. That Mimitar lab is it's exactly what the LAVs for the Caldari and the Galente should be, and should have been from the get go. It's a little armored
they
dune
were,
buggy.
but the problem was that they had issue with the fact that you couldn't actually look forward with the small turret for the lab, so they redesigned them. But they made the actual lab so bad. It's just,
You couldn't do what now?
You couldn't turn the small turret forward to look forward where the driver was driving. So yeah, it could only face
Damn.
backwards.
Oh, you mean the ones from the 2009 footage?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were.
Oh,
The small
that's
turret looked like
All right,
Well,
guys,
I was
it's
gonna
time
say,
for me to get off school.
You
You
don't
know,
need to go to school.
Yes,
I
you
need to
do.
go to school.
Yes, he does.
There, guys.
All right,
Bye,
Cat. We'll see you
Cat.
later, man. Thanks for showing up.
Bye.
See, now he's
Damn.
guaranteed that his meow is actually going to get into the podcast this week.
I did let Bait have his comment at the end last week. I don't know if he actually bothered to go check, or you didn't check, did you?
No, I actually didn't. I totally forgot
I'm
about it.
surprised because you were really insistent
I
on
was
it. And,
really happy. You just made my day, Zell. Thank you.
oh, I made someone's day.
Yes.
That doesn't happen often.
I'm happy now. But yeah, I'm still looking at these vehicles, and I'm just so much potential sitting here in this rectangular tank. That is what the Mimitar tank is.
Oh, that thing is
Just-
goofy. It's twice as
It
wide
is
as the other ones.
Goofiest piece of shit ever. It's if it doesn't have the ability to, no, I guess it doesn't. It's just this wide piece of shit. Wow, it can't turn horizontally or it can't go vertically. I guess it can only go in that. Oh wow.
Well, what I like about it is it kind of looks like a lot of the Mimitar stuff, which is it looks like it's like
Mhm, yeah.
mining equipment or it's industrial.
Yes.
Like they've repurposed it to be weaponized.
Mhm.
And I mean, even the dropship below that, it looks like it was.
Yeah.
In some quarry somewhere mining minerals
Mhm.
or something. I love
Yep.
it.
Well, at least it's better than the Mimitar ships in Eve that have fucking sails everywhere.
The not solar panels.
Yeah, exactly. Not solar. Whatever the hell they are. Sails, solar panels.
Solar cells to be
Solar
more
cells.
precise.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Count Dooku.
They're officially they're duct tape arrays.
Yeah. Or what now? You cut out.
Duct tape arrays.
Duct tape arrays. Ah, I see what they did there.
What I do find interesting, and we'll tinfoil for a moment here and try not to go too crazy with it, but I know
And
that
do it.
Jadek Menaheim's been posting on Twitter a lot of photos of basically high-res screenshots of dust weapons.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if anyone's seen them. You can check out it's Neckbeard Nixon or at Jadek Menaheim on Twitter. He's been posting a whole bunch of them. We'll
Yeah,
put a
I
link
saw
on
his plasma rifles and
Dude,
the
that mag
shotguns, and
sec.
I was like, oh my god. It
Yeah.
was so beautiful.
And supposedly these are concepts that were done a long time ago, and they were just concepts. But at the same time, the timing of these things popping up is certainly interesting, given potential future events and whatnot. But yeah, they're absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking at the bolt pistol one right now, and it's fantastic. I mean, there's a whole bunch of let me see here.
There's a really beautiful looking mag sec on there as well. Oh, I just saw the googly eyes for the gunjack thing
Right,
that you
right.
were talking about earlier.
Yeah, but here's the tinfoil part. Is it's kind of interesting that on some of these artists that have done the concept art for the guns and whatnot, there's also screenshots from a very beautiful environment titled, I think, Project X or something, just as like a generic, non-named project, but they're in the same gallery as these weapons, and it looks like it's been done on the Unreal 4 engine, which, as we know, is what Valkyrie is on, and I think Gunjack's on Unreal 4 as well, right?
I'm not sure.
Yes,
I
yes,
think it
Gunjack is UE4.
Okay, that's what I thought. So, I won't unveil too much, but it is interesting to see this concept art for the high resolution weapons popping up, and they look fantastic in these environments as well. It's I think the one I'm thinking of is basically kind of this geodesic dome. It had these little hex windows on it, and there was like this grassy area on the inside, but looked like it was like on a planet somewhere, but you're fighting inside this like biodome. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool stuff. I suggest you guys get on there onto Jadek's Twitter, or you can probably just Google it. There's probably tons of examples out there, but yeah, a bunch of cool concept art.
The link for that is in the green room if anybody's interested and hasn't seen it yet.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah,
Jadek links to a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, he finds some of the most interesting stuff ever.
I think one of my favorites is the artist was Julia Lee, and she posted a picture of a repair tool, high resolution model of a repair tool, and it says Minmatar weapon. I forgot this weapon was called High Poly for Dust 514.
Oh, no.
Well, shit.
If only. What was her name?
Julia Lee. Scroll down to
to
August 17th is when he posted the picture of it.
Let me see if I can.
And a picture of the drones, as we've seen before. There was even drone footage in the Unreal 3 engine for Dust for one of those trailers.
There's footage of that?
There's drones?
Of drones? Yeah, there's a brief cut where
Oh yeah.
I think it's Build
remember
Your
that.
Army was the name of the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
the
uh,
cinematic with the drones, that was cool.
With the Caldari Assault with a forge gun, because,
Okay, I'm going to do some speculation myself. I'm looking at the turret. That's clearly Galente. And why is that barrel so short?
Where are you looking?
I was looking at the high-res pictures that the kitty linked, and I'm just looking at the turret, and it just I keep on getting Galente in my mind when I'm looking at that, because it just clearly looks Galente, but that barrel is so short. So
That may be without the barrel, though. That
That's
says
the
turret
housing.
enclosure.
Yeah, that's the housing that the turret attaches to that.
I scrolled down. Never mind. I see that there's no barrel inside. Okay, carry on.
But yeah, so there's lots of fun high res stuff popping up. We don't know if it was for Dust or if it was for something new.
The thing is everything that was done for Dust was done in very high quality, high resolution, and then you dumb it down to what you can run in a game environment. I mean, the cinematics tended to look a lot, better than the game itself. And that's just the way you design assets. Like, people have talked about like looking into some of the CGI assets created for like Star Trek DS9 and Voyager, and they were literally, the editing for Star Trek DS9 was done on like 320p or something like that. Really just awful resolution, like tapes. But the 3D models, you can zoom in and see individual escape hatches fully modeled and detailed. I mean, the actual art used to create the show would hold up today under in 4K TV. It's your base art should be good enough to work with in any situation, and I'm pretty sure Dust assets are in general actually quite high quality.
And that's why high-res movies that are coming out today that came out a long time ago are a thing.
I think there's actually I saw a thing online where they took the models from the game Final Fantasy IX, which is on the PlayStation 1. So I mean, as you can imagine, it was very blocky and pixelated, but then they put the actual models like in an engine that can actually render things, and it was actually surprising how good they looked. Same exact model, but how good it looked in a different engine. So I mean, there's definitely a difference there in what you're rendering. I mean, you could probably stick Dust on a PS4 with a direct port, which I don't think they'll do. I think there'll be some level of reworking, but even the direct port, the way that the engine renders the textures and whatnot would actually probably make it look quite a bit better, despite it being the same models and textures.
And it might run smoother as well. Might.
Well, yeah, obviously.
And
More
that
memory.
would be really good. That would be really good for the game, honestly. If it ran smoother and looked the same, I'm pretty sure a lot more people would play it. If it played better, a lot of people would probably play this game.
Well,
You
and
just
that's
have to actually get it good.
I mean, that's one thing I've said about Destiny is that say what you will about Destiny, and I do think the Taken King expansion is going to be awesome. But in the base game, there was obviously issues. But the one thing they really nailed was the fluidity of movement. I think that the game is very smooth. It plays, when you're playing it, it feels very responsive and enjoyable. And I think that's one thing where Dust has certainly faltered on is mobility and how the controls react. It's very clunky, and I think that certainly hasn't helped it. Be competitive against other games. Even back in the day when it first came out, and there were more games in the PS3 that were new, it couldn't compete because the game was very clunky and the fluidity was not there. And that's why I say that if there is a port, I do hope that there is at least a fair amount of rebuild. In terms of like controls and visuals and whatnot, because that's always been a real problem is how the game feels and how the movement is and how responsive it is, as well as the visuals and whatnot. I'm not looking for Destiny quality visuals, but I think that I don't want to be driving and having plants pop out of the ground as I drive by my LAV because the render distance is so short. So I think a direct port is unwise. I think I hope that they are putting some money and effort into actually putting some real work into it to fix a lot of the core problems that in terms of general user playability and whatnot.
Like for instance, I hope that they actually try making it to where vehicles have an actual purpose instead of just being there.
They do have an actual purpose. It gives me something to shoot at with my swarm launchers. It's like that's like 90 points every time I blow one up with swarm launchers and kill somebody.
That makes me sad.
It makes me happy, especially LAVs because people can't. I don't know if it's because people just fit LAVs or if it's because
you literally
LAV
can't fit anything on.
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
No, you literally can't.
Really?
No,
they're pretty crappy.
It's bad.
Because I can one shot an LAV. Most LAVs, very rarely will I be able to. Do I have to fire off another volley of swarms?
And that LAV that you have to fire off another volley, that one's probably upwards of 80 to 150k. Is
really? Oh, they're stupid expensive.
Normally they're the Quaif ones. I've noticed the Galente Quaif ones are have the 2-shot.
They probably
just goes down like
stuff
shit.
on them, but still,
maybe
you still have to pay for the modules, and the modules make it to where it's like 80 to 150k.
Yeah, there's no tiers of LAVs like HAVs, so you've only got the Quaif and the militia, or the standard is the same as the Quaif, obviously, but like Godin says, the modules where the costs are. And even the base cost of the non-BPL LAVs is retarded high. Like, I would never pay that. Yeah, like, you kidding me? My drop suits cost less than that.
Exactly.
Interesting. But yeah,
for instance,
they do
a
have
standard
a purpose.
HAV costs 250k on average, sometimes even more. And what do they do?
Yeah. Well, that goes back to, Skirmish 1.0. They actually had a purpose because there were structures you had to dismantle via various means, and HAV was one of them, where you'd actually just go and straight up blow the thing up. But you had to put yourself in a dangerous spot to do it.
But see, if we were able to disable any kind of installation, including no cannons, they would automatically have a purpose. Just disabling unwanted installations or keeping HAVs from disabling those installations.
That would add a new
just boom. You made something have an important purpose on the field.
That would actually be a really interesting dynamic to implement into the game, to be able to disable null cannons. And the only way to have them brought back is by Logi with a rep tool. Come up and repair that shit for.
I wouldn't even say that. Just have it to where it goes into reinforcement for a certain amount of time, and then it comes online neutral.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Even then, that would still be a really cool thing to add. That would make that would give purpose to literally every vehicle in the game.
not really every vehicle, just HEVs. Dropships would still be
Drop-
struggling.
Yeah,
Labs would really.
Not really. I mean, you get a
At
mount
the
up
most,
in
you could
a
have
in a
an
Gorgon.
ADS
Yeah.
shooting at it, but even then, ADSs are
Yeah.
really more for excuse me, infantry.
What the fuck? Are they really?
Because it has a small
Ugh.
turret, it's really made for more
Oh,
of infantry
okay.
shooting rather than trying to destroy an installation. That's why they nerfed the rate of fire, because it was killing installations and HEVs as fast as HEVs were, and as well as they were just ripping apart infantry, so they got nerfed.
Okay.
But yeah, they need to improve that vehicle game. Just saying.
Yeah, I think overall adding levels of destructibility to the environments would certainly, help in that regard. Like, I think Zell might have actually brought it up a long time ago to me. The idea of having like gates around the base, the large.
Yes.
City.
I want actual fortifications, and there to be like vehicles should there should be artillery, and it should be a siege to break into the defender's stronghold and really take it, and vehicles should be an important tool in doing that, but not infantry death machines like they are now. They should have a purpose that isn't about just killing people.
Well,
And
that's
that's
where you
what
run
I've
into
been
issues.
saying, and that's why I'd rather have the shotgun turret rather than the pew 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 blaster that we have now. So it's more of a alpha like railguns and missile turrets are, and less of the pew pew pew. So it can be more made for taking on the larger targets,
Yeah, but then you also run into issues where if HAVs are only good at fighting other HAVs, then what's the point of them in the first place? Because then you're just
And-
fighting each other.
And that's why I'd rather have installations where you could disable them or outright destroy them, and you have to bring them
Right.
back some way.
Yeah, I think they definitely need a purpose. Otherwise, because I mean, if you take away the anti-infantry aspect of an HAV, then there's really no reason to use them. I mean, there's obviously niche points where you can actually find a purpose for them, but overall, that's kind of all they do. And so it's tricky because you don't want them to be like Zell said, infantry death machines, but at the same time, if they're not, then there's not much reason to have them in the game. And no, Zell, we aren't going to remove them from the game. I'd rather actually add a purpose than just axe them completely.
I wouldn't even say remove the infantry purpose completely. I would just make it so it's unwieldy. Like, for example, not to the point where missiles are now of trying to kill infantry is kind of a pain, but a little bit better than it is now. That's where I would want all the turrets to be.
I think a tank should have infantry support to protect tanks from infantry.
Oh, of course, that's what the small turrets are for, but the small turrets are crap.
Mhm.
That's kind of the problem. It's hard for an infantry to tell that an HEV is getting actually shot at. It's just no.
I will say I'm okay with small turrets being useful against infantry. I want to see proper gameplay where tanks are staffed. That's always been a big opinion of mine. Is I was really sad to see actually when the tanks were redone. I was sad to see the concept of solo tanking survive insofar as being like a class of tanks for solo users. That were as good as tanks for 3 people. I always felt that you should have to deal with that should be a team vehicle.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I think
the day
that's
that they
fair.
make smaller turrets good and have a purpose for the large turret is the day. Until they make small turrets good, that just won't happen.
Well, the thing is, you actually used to see way back in the day before all this crap started, you'd see actual, proper infantry support. I remember when tanks were much higher HP, they had active reps, and they were slower. You'd actually see Logi guys on foot behind the tank, repping it to keep it alive while it was taking out some heavy AV fire. But
making tanks as fast as a lav never made a whole lot of sense.
I was never a fan of that, and I wish
It's
they would
more
go back
the
to a lower.
acceleration, really. honestly.
Sure, but the mobility overall is just too high, and I think that it kills all infantry support because they can't keep up. I mean, there's no way you can keep up with an HAV.
Which is why I'm really an advocate for them nerfing the speed, not the speed, but the acceleration, a tiny bit of the speed because it's a little bit too high. I would agree with that, but they need to get the acceleration right, and they need to have it to where the small turrets are actually halfway decent. Then you would probably see a lot more of the infantry support. Like
Yeah,
for instance, if the small blasters, at least the small blasters could be to where they used to be in closed beta, and that acceleration was to where the infantry could keep up, and we had decent active defenses, there would be a lot of infantry support for HAVs, guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back when you stack on those 180 millimeter plates, and if you stopped, it took you for freaking ever to get going again. Like, you didn't ever want to come to a complete stop because you couldn't get going faster before you got ganked. And I think that, that was actually kind of cool because you either had to keep moving or you needed infantry support to keep you alive, or better yet, a vehicle with a logistics module repping you to keep you alive if you were going to sit in an area for a long period of time. And I think you could achieve that again, but, the move to higher speed and higher self repair really kind of killed that, and it was definitely a departure from the slower, tankier, higher HP builds we used to have. I mean, I remember when you could easily get a Madruger to it was over 8,000 HP armor HP. It was you'd stack on the 180 plate and then like 2 hardeners and a Repper or something, I forget, but you could get a ton of HP on them, but they were slow. It took them a while to get up to speed, and once they did get up to speed, they could haul ass, but you didn't have the stop and go ultra fast maneuvering like you have now. And I mean, as a tanker myself, I far more enjoyed that slow, methodical. I can take a shitload of damage, but I can't stay here very long because I'm going to get ganked because my repper's going to run up, and that was much more enjoyable to me than what we have now, which is basically stack on reps and just go to hell because you can run away from everything in a blink of an eye. And I think that's not enjoyable for most tankers, and it's certainly not enjoyable for AV players. And I think that we need to kind of take a close look at what we came from and really evaluate what changes were good and what changes were bad, and actually take a good look at that. Unfortunately, I think that Rattati is a little afraid of touching the subject because some members of the community were a real pain in the ass with the whole rebuild, and it kind of got sidetracked because of it, and it just turned into a whole mess. So we'll see. I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Shame.
It is a shame because it's certainly a problem, and I think that we had a lot of content taken away, and I think it's a balance issue for a lot of people right now, particularly with certain fits on the Madruger. They're beastly, and it's not fun. And the idea is you want to have it be fun for everybody, and I think that ever since the rebuild, the initial rebuild, it's kind of been this back and forth between not being fun for one side or the other, and we really haven't achieved that true balance yet, which is a shame because I think there's a lot of potential there. It just hasn't really been realized in a long time.
I honestly think that it's not fun for both sides because I've been on both sides of AV and being a pilot, and neither side's really fun at the moment. It got a little bit better with the last rework, but it's still not there yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're approaching the hour mark here. Is there any other topics you guys wanted to hit up before we go
Are
into
there any
shoutouts?
topics?
Not really. I mean, we've been pretty much doing nothing but nostalgia the whole time.
I was amazed though. We actually kept this mostly about Dust for like an hour.
Yeah,
I think that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
You have lived a very spoiled life. If this is the hardest thing you've ever had to do, I'm sorry, man. You have got a long way to fall.
As far as Dust podcasting life.
I don't think he was here for the. Were you here for the Leonard Nimoy episode?
No, I was listening though. It was very sad.
Yeah,
that was a rough episode. That was
right before I came on.
That was a rough episode. Is all I can say.
Yeah.
It's
It sounded like it just from listening.
And it's very hard to get from a moment where everyone is thinking, it's I mean, barely, I met the guy once, barely knew, obviously not friends or anything, but it's That would have been cool.
Mhm.
That would be like something cool to hang on a thing. It's like I knew Leonard Nimoy. Yeah, no, I have his autograph though.
Nice.
But to go from an emotional moment to like, okay, so let's talk about assault rifles. It's really
Sure,
that was a rough episode.
Yeah, it sounded like it.
There were like
I was
three of us too,
depressed.
I think.
We wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was depressed just listening to it.
Yeah, so that was actually probably the hardest episode I think we've done because we pretty much went into it with, again, nothing to talk about, but we were all kind of feeling down. So it's like, oh, let's try to make it be a meaningful episode and not get depressed in the process. So, but I think we did a decent enough job. We managed to fill the hour, which was pretty impressive given what we had to talk about.
And we've done it again, sort of.
Yes, because Jay isn't here, and Jay should never miss episodes because he leads the episode, and if he doesn't, it turns into this.
We talked about Destiny for a bit, and then we started rambling about how they screwed up Dust royally, and now we're just rambling about how we've done all of this.
And how we've screwed up the episode. So we're going to go into shoutouts now before this turns into more of a mess. So there's nothing else though, right, guys?
No,
I don't
no.
think so.
Nah.
Okay, cool. We'll take this in for a landing then. So we'll start at the top again with Zell. Shout out, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna give my shout out to like Breakin' and Jay and like everyone else who tried Heroes of the Storm this week. More people should play it. It's fun.
It's actually a
heard
pretty solid
somebody-
game.
I
heard
don't
somebody-
like MOBA, so yeah.
I heard somebody bitch about BattleNet. I guess it was this past week.
At one
But
point, I
how-
was down. I know that.
Oh, was it down?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was Jay that was like, "This is the last time I'll ever use BattleNet for anything. Fuck BattleNet." I was giggling.
Oh, it's gotten much better.
Well,
so.
you'll use it. You'll use it when you play Here's the Storm, and then you'll use it when you play Overwatch, which should be going into like closed beta testing this season. So either probably this month or next month. And
What is
Overwatch is going to
Overwatch?
be really really cool.
Tell me more,
Overwatch is kind of like it feels to me like almost like a first person MOBA.
It's
Kind of
Team
it's probably a little bit like
Huh.
Team Fortress.
But like, I've played an alpha build. It's really fun. It was
Oh,
just
you
great.
have!
Yes, I have.
Oh my
You
god,
lucky bastard.
I'm jealous. Oh, I am
That's
very
great.
jealous.
Just give
I
me a
got to play
support
that
role.
fat chick. It was great.
So yeah, I'm really excited about Overwatch. And I'm signed up for the closed beta. We'll see if I get an invite. But so you'll
Oh,
need
so
it for
you
that.
should-
And
Apparently,
of
I'm
course-
getting an automatic invite to the closed beta. So
Hearthstone and everything else. So
So Rye's not cool enough to get the alpha invite.
no, I don't know enough people. Is the problem.
I
don't
know a person.
I don't
A
know the right
person.
people. Can you tell that person to put me on the list?
He can only get me in, so no.
No.
All right. Shout out then, Godin.
My mom got me some really expensive chocolate that I needed for a thing. So shout out to my mom for that.
Awesome. Shout out for me. I guess I'll do a shout out to all the members of the Dust community who are somehow sticking with it despite things being really slow and boring right now. So, especially people on the show helping us out, fill the time. So, I know it's slow, guys, but I really do appreciate you coming onto the show and helping us talk about things of the past and hopefully things of the future in the near future because it's slow and hopefully things get more interesting in the next coming month or so. So, yeah, thank you. And with
I just remembered another one. Shout out to my brother
Yes.
because he said that he's going to get me his PS3. He's going
Success.
to ship me it. So yeah, I'm going to have a PS3 to play Dust. So
very nice.
And I'll give my shout out to Ray from the Incorruptibles. Thank you for listening live. Thank you to everybody who listens live. Do people still do that? I don't know.
A couple.
Yes.
If you listen live, thank you. Thank you for listening live. You're cool. Shout out to everybody who listens to us on iTunes and the XML feed. I think is what that's called. Let's see what else. Oh, shout out to CCP Ratati. Miss you, man. Hope you
Yeah.
enjoy those candy bars. You have to send me one.
yeah, you got to send everyone one.
You should send
we love
all
you.
the CPM. Send all the CPM a candy bar, and everybody from the Dust Media team.
Yes, give us candy.
That's us. Give us candy.
Also, all the fishes. Blood.
And I do apologize, Bay, for skipping over you. I didn't realize you
You're
used
fine.
the tangent with the BattleNet and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, one more thing though, actually, I forgot to mention that I have found a way to make my life not a living hell when uploading episodes to YouTube. So I think I got the first 60 episodes or so up on YouTube.
Holy cow!
Yeah, no, it's much easier than it was before.
Christ.
Yeah, so they're up there. I'm going to finish up the rest of them up until current day, probably the next day or so. But yeah, check us out on YouTube if that's your preferred listening method. So that's available now. So yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for listening.
Pokey, what's the channel name?
What's the channel?
Oh God, I'm not prepared for this. Hold on.
Pokey, you have to
Okay.
channel your inner YouTuber.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, I'm Pokey Draven coming at you. Support my YouTube channel. Follow us. Biomassed.
Subscribe,
Lord.
give us 1 million likes, etc., etc.
Like, favorite, subscribe, and tweet.
See, and this is why I can't actually do a YouTube channel because I'd be terrible at that. Gosh, I'm not even sure where to look to find the actual channel URL.
Just say the channel name and people can find it.
It's just Biomassed,
Okay.
Biomassed podcast. I'm sure
I
you guys
got you.
can find it. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We'll get an actual URL up on the website, biomass.net as well, so you guys can find it better. But yeah, we'll be getting those up. I have episodes 1 through 59 up, it looks like. So I'll get the rest of them up probably the next day or so, and you can listen on there too.
Are you going to shout out the magic tool responsible for this wonder?
Not you.
This is amusing. I typed in Biomass podcast and Hercules Porsche stuff just popped
Found
up.
it.
Yeah, I found it too.
It's youtube.com/user/biomass podcast.
Yep.
There we go.
And you have that sexy looking banner.
Yeah, I got to update the stuff, but we'll get it done. And I don't actually have the name of the tool on hand, so I'll have to pull up my other computer. But yeah, no, it's really awesome. You just upload the image you want and the audio file you want. And I think people use it for making music videos, just if they want to play audio on the YouTube. But it does all the encoding for me and then auto uploads with the title and the description and the tags and everything. It's fantastic. So it was well worth the money spent. It's only $10 for 6 months. So it saved my life because it honestly would take me like an hour to encode everything in like Adobe Premiere and then upload. It was a pain in the ass. So I can do it now in like 5 minutes. It's amazing.
Interesting. You have already 25 subscribers.
People have been getting in there. It's just I haven't been updating it in a while. I think that was an episode. Well, I think the first Rattati episode actually was the last one I uploaded before I found this and started getting them up quickly. So I did like 40 episodes in a day. It was great. But enough rambling. We're going to pull this episode in for a close. So thanks for listening. Thanks for listening on live stream and all of our iTunes, YouTube, everything. So thanks, guys. So good night and good luck.
Love.